These bodies of light, the seekers and sojourners of truth, the little bird on the roof tweeting over there. I greet you in the love that lights the truth. From my heart to yours, I am Celestial Earth in this divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live, always, always, always from 5D, the fifth dimension. Place to be. Are you here with me in 5D? How many of y'all are feeling the essence of 5D? Are you transcending? Are you ascending? Are you shifting timelines? Are you a paradigm shifter? Welcome to the forefront. Come to the forefront. Get to your battle stations. All of that is required right now because we're pushing and we're moving and we're shifting. Ashe. So as usual, I bring you the news to infuse if you so choose to fuse with that light. Remember, if you don't, you can always refuse. Be prepared to be fried on the grid. So I have a fresh download. That's why I'm sharing this with you. I really just did a video. I'll post it later. And something was saying no, do the live because this download came really through straight. Y'all know I like to give it to y'all fresh off the pot because, if I wait till Saturday, it's going to be something else. So I know Saturday's the live, but right here, right now. Before we go any further, remember to like, subscribe, share, comment if you dare. If you can, you might want to share right now. Share this with a friend because this download is important to what's happening in this cosmic assessment, in this window that pertains to our timeline transcendence and shifting. Happy throat chakra day, by the way. All right, so this is in regards to some human formalities. So I was in meditation, and as I was coming out of meditation this morning, all I could hear was these are human formalities. And this is important for us to know as I got the download about these human formalities, what I mean by that. And I'm always air quoted human formalities because there is a cognitive dissonance going on, as we are all aware of. And it has to do with our interrelations, how we're interrelating with ones, with others in this cognitive dissonance and what's needed right now, which is forgiveness, right? I know a lot of people don't like to hear that word, or they may say they do, but it still creates some kind of discomfort because immediately you think about the things that were done to you and what you're not ready to forgive and how wrong they were and things like that. But forgiveness, it's being highlighted how forgiveness is very necessary right now, and it's coming through so heavy that I am feeling a call to do a forgiveness workshop. I'm not sure when, but it's really coming in heavy right now. It's like I'm hearing spirit whisper that like there needs to be another workshop. I haven't done a forgiveness workshop since 2022, but this one is really needed right now to help us transcend. It's like it's highlighting, it's showing to me how I really need to break down to the ones who need to hear this or who are needing help and guidance with this, to really break down what forgiveness is, not the way that we think, not just, oh yeah, I forgive that person, but what it really is in true definition, which is to forget the fear, forget the emotions of fear, the fear factor emotions that have been attached, because it does raise fear-based thoughts and feelings, and we hold it there in our vibratory field, right? Unbeknownst to you, whether you're aware of it or not, right? We may say we forgive someone, but if we haven't processed the emotion, which is why emotional processing is very important right now, being that we're in sacral chakra season. Hello, let's break it down, right? So when we break down and we tune into the emotions, we allow ourselves to open up. We allow ourselves to have that release. There we go. To release the mental emotional holds. And believe me, it is holding an account in the energetic field, right? So let me speak about these human formalities because this was quite a bit of download. So I really want to get into it. So let me just share what I can. And whoever is here, remember, like, share, um, throw your comments in there, questions, whatever you have, because this is a conversation, right? So in regards to their cognitive dissonance, right? This is to those outside of us. In regards to their cognitive dissonance to the truths they resist within your interrelations, the social dynamic shift has revealed their lack of reverence to the love, light, truth you abide in, which translates as a disconnect at the crown within the cosmic body. So basically, it's saying that, in regards to that cognitive dissonance outside, there's a cognitive dissonance with those who are resisting the truth, right? Within your interrelations, meaning how you're interrelating with those loved ones, and you all know what it is. You know what the feeling is when you feel it. You can feel this resistance, and no matter what you say, and it's not a matter of debate. I'm beyond talking about trying to wake ones up and get, this is beyond that. This is just about um having to integrate, right, with ones who simply are not allowing the flow of love, light, truth, because they're not respecting the love, light, truth that you abide in, right? And it poses as a some of a lot of the 144. This feels very disheartening, um, as we are transcending to that next timeline. And it sometimes feels like you are not able to satisfy your mission and what it is that needs to be done, because you can't cross with that. And it's like, okay, well, it's like you're left holding the bag. It's like, what do I do with this? I'm holding the bag. We're having compassion for the collective, so I don't want to impose. So what do I do with this, right? Because you can't impose it on them, and at the same time, you don't want to continue to walk with this fallacy, right? That they are imposing on you in the feedback energy. Because of their resistance, it's like a feedback energy, and it leaves you holding the bag, right? So this is that lack of reverence that they have. And that lack of reverence, it has to do with the crown chakra. This is why I said it translates to disconnect at the crown chakra, which is the cosmic body, right? It also indicates to them that you see them in the unconscious realm, which instills fear in them subconsciously and threatens their being to exist in what they feel is real in their real time reality, that is truly in the underworld of their soul. So, what that part is saying is there is a, it also indicates to them, it's not just what you're seeing and you're being left holding the bag, but they see this. They may not know it. They may not, there's different levels of these relationships that are happening, right? They may know it and not want you to know it, which is the real narcissistic aspect of it. They may know it, right? But for the most part, they may be unconscious to it. This is why it's unconscious behavior, right? But it indicates to them that you see them. They know, whether they're aware of it or not, that other aspect of them, and especially that parasitic energy that is behind them, knows it, knows that you see them, and they are afraid. It instills fear unconsciously. If you ask them consciously, they're not going to admit to it. They're going to deny it, or they're just really not aware of it, right? And so it freezes something in them, mostly that parasitic energy, and it instills fear in them subconsciously, and they feel threatened. This fear is a threat to their ego, to their ego attachments, right? This is why I said it's a disconnect in the crown chakra, because the crown chakra is ego attachment is the number one block of the crown chakra. So you're seeing a disconnect, and you guys are engaging in the crown chakra in a certain way, right? You may have the connections, you may be connected more to the one mind consciousness, whereas they are not, and they're completely embodying the fear, the ego attachments, right, that keep them where they are because of those ego attachments, which it gets into later. So this all threatens their existence and what they feel is real, but it's really like they're really in the underworld of their soul, and a lot of them are digging deeper ditches into that underworld, and they don't know it, even under the disguise of spiritual, bypassing. This is happening in a lot in the spiritual realm. And this is why I've said this for quite some time, but people, ones, should understand that even within 5D, even within the higher levels, what the conscious community, whatever you want to call it, there are splits happening within there. Because those who are spiritual, not everyone is making the necessary sacrifices that must needs be met. Not everyone is having the self-discipline to tap fully into their Christ consciousness. So you're really seeing a separation even within the spiritual houses and the spiritual community. And this is the bypassing. And you're seeing the narcissism even in those who feel that they are in a hierarchy in the spiritual community, whether they're pastors, elite, a lot of these so-called leaders, which is, it's all coming down. It's crashing down. Whether they get caught or not, it's crashing down. It's crashing down before your very eyes. The veils are dropping, right? Are thinning on them. So even if they don't get caught by others out there, even if others don't see them, you see them. The true ones in true time reality, we see them, right? And so that veil is falling. And there, this is why Saturn is closing out. This is part of Saturn's journey throughout Pisces, is to bring down. This is the Lord of Karma, and it is to show responsibility and to bring down those who feel that they are in some type of hierarchy and they feel like they're up there, and it's bringing them down, not because it wants to tear them down, but because it is inauthentic. It is not true, right? And they must face their karmic debts, right? They must have accountability, right? Saturn is about accountability. And so as Saturn is closing out, that accountability is standing strong, especially with ones like the high definition 144. So you're being faced with making difficult decisions right now. You must not tolerate it any longer. You must not play along on the chords that they are playing any longer, because you see it, right? You see it, and to whom much is given, much is required, as I said in my previous video, right? So you'll see it when I post it. So yeah, that's to know that they're in the underworld of their soul. This unveiling, see, I didn't even know that was coming up, and I was just talking about the veiling. This unveiling within the interrelations of this social dynamic that causes a dis-ease within the mind-body complex structure as mental emotional unrest is the human formality, right? And let me pause right there, because this is why I was hearing, this is a human formality. This is a human formality. And yes, we are in our human suit, but it's being reiterated so that as we know that we're elevating and we're evolving to our crystalline bodies and we're moving into the higher, the newer timelines, we must understand that this is, it's the way it was said is like, it was like, dear ones, this is merely a human formality. So it is to recognize and know that it is it's a human construct, and it hinders us a little bit, or it slows us down, or it bothers us a little, because it is a human formality. And the reason why it's human formality is because of this mental emotional unrest, right? Even if you feel like you're not thinking about it a lot, that's fine. It is still there, being held in the energetic field, in the vibratory field, as some type of kickback resistance towards you. And it within the human, within the mind body complex structure, which is our human structure that is infused with our soul. That's all that means. Mind body complex is our human structure infused with our soul. Okay, and the soul is comprised of the superconscious, conscious, and subconscious. The soul is the entire mind, right? So it has a lot. Why it's being said that way? Because it has a lot to do with how we're engaging and exchanging the frequencies that are coming in. And so it's like a energetic friction, so to speak, for us. So it wants us to know, hey, it's just a human formality. On both ends, they're having a very human experience, obviously, and in their cognitive dissonance, there's so much in their body, there's so much in their egoic attachments of the body, that they can't really connect in the crown. They don't know the total connectivity of the crown, because there's so much in the body. I don't care how spiritual they are, right? If they're hosting this cognitive dissonance, then that is where they are, right? And it's a human formality on your part, or on our part, as you know, the high definition 5D. It's a human formality because it's for us to pay attention to our mind body construct, our complex, to realize that just release it. There's some releasing, and I'm getting into the download. Even breaks down how to release it. Right. This is the how to is the juicy part. So let me get over to that. Right. So it takes up, by it being this human formality, right? It takes up space within the time vessel at a cellular vibratory level and holds in different regions of the body. Right? So let me say that again. It's taking up space within the time vessel because we're vessels in time. That's your human, your structure. So it's taking up space within your time. Remember, we're time, space, reality, space in time. And it's taking that up at a cellular vibratory level in your cells, holding these vibrations, right? And holds in different regions of the body, which helps to indicate where it is held in the mind soul. So wherever it's held in the body, and I've said this before, it indicates this is the purpose of energy centers. Wherever you're feeling any aches and pains or whatever diseases you're feeling in the body, it indicates where it is held in the mind. So if you truly pay attention to your energy centers, it's just that simple. Whatever part of the body, all you got to do is look up the chakra. If you're not sure, information is everywhere. You can easily Google or look up the chakra to see what part of the body that pertains to, and look at what part of where it shows that you're out of alignment with what in your consciousness. It's going to show you, believe me, when it talks about it may not say it in those words. It may not say out of alignment in your consciousness here. But what it will say is why it's out of alignment. So it's going to point to a specific part of the body. Say, for example, you're having digestive issues. If you put in what are digestive issues, which chakra does digestive issues pertain to, it'll show you solar plexus. It'll take you, right? So, and then look up more information about the solar plexus. What throws this energy center out of alignment? How can I activate it? How can I balance it? And just by paying attention to that, you'll see where in your consciousness is out of alignment. So these energy centers pinpoint, as I always say, they're doorways to your soul. So it pinpoints that, right? This exactly is what preposes at energetic friction. Sorry, this is what preposes at energetic friction within the mind body complex vessel as light is being transmitted. So it preposes, did I say that right? This is what preposes an energetic friction. Okay, and energetic friction. I knew something was off. So it preposes or predisposes an energetic friction within the mind-body complex vessel as light is being transmitted from source through the universe and into the planetary grid, right? Which is accelerating the planetary ascension into 5D. So what this is saying is these energy centers in the body, these wherever you may be feeling anything, this is what poses as friction, right? This is what we're seeing, that is friction with the light that is coming in. So as the light comes in, there tends to be a little friction as it's coming through your mind-body complex. That's the best way I can explain it, all right? And this is all information that is coming from source through the universe into our planetary grid, which is why as we work on the light grid, we will feel it. Those of us that are raising our vibrations and amplifying more on the light grid, you're more sensitive to the light grid. You're more sensitive to the information that is being bestowed to you on the light grid, right? So this is coming through like this, right? And it's saying which is what is accelerating the planetary ascension into 5D. This light that is coming through all of us as conduits of light is what is helping this ascension. The mind must recognize, meaning to re-know, that the body's hold as mental and emotional unrest is the human formality. Let me say that again. The mind must know. So remember, I'm talking about how the body is holding it, okay? The mind must know and must recognize that the body's hold, whatever it's holding as mental emotional unrest, is the human formality. So that defines what this human formality is. It is exactly whatever it is that the body is holding, that actually is coming from the mind, right? Because the mental emotional unrest is a part of the workings of the mind, of the soul. It's the working between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Conscious being the masculine, subconscious being the feminine, right? Conscious being the ego, not that it's all bad, but conscious being the ego, subconscious being the intuition. This is the creative activity is the conscious, and the receptive activity is the subconscious. It's just a duality that exists in and within everything, and where it's asking for a harmony. All right. Peace, love, and light is that discernment. Discernment either way. Who you telling? That's what when I was getting this download, I was like, whoo. And it just kept going on and on. I'm like, this is it's quite a bit. That's why I said I had to share this live with you all. So, who gets it, gets it. Tag whoever you need to tag, because there's more. I'm about to go in to the how to release it next. Right? So tag whoever you feel may be going through this, because this is some ish. Going down, basement. All right, so this is the formality. The formality is what we're holding in the body, and it's for the mind to recognize it and say, oh, this is what that is, right? So it's to recognize it as a human formality and must be released in order to clear the passage as portals of light to be in the higher frequencies. To be in the higher frequencies. And I stopped right there because I literally wrote it in here, because as I was writing it, I heard that song, bring me a higher love, bring me a higher love. Oh, I don't remember who sing it, but that's what I was hearing. It's like, in order to be portals of light, to be in the higher frequencies, to bring in this higher love that ordains the practice of authentic authority with all, which proclaims their soul sovereignty. All right, so with all. Why do I say this ordains? Because when we are to be the portals of light in these higher frequencies, we are the ones that are bringing in the higher love. That's why I'm hearing that song, bring me a higher love, right? And we're talking about the love frequency, right? Not just I love you love. And by doing that, that is what ordains you, and it ordains the practice. You know how people become ordained ministers? Yeah, this is how you are energetically ordained to practice your authentic authority. It ordains you to walk in that authentic authority that you need to walk in with all, no matter who they be, no matter where they get it or not. This ordains you. 6-6. I'm looking at 6 and 6. Receptive. Yes, we are here being receptive. Ashe. Hi, Miss Oracle. Peace, love, and light. Welcome. Tag a friend, tag somebody, let them in, because this is some important information. This download here is important. Don't sleep on this one, because this is what's going to help us transcend into that next timeline. A lot of us are battling with this, or somewhat struggling with this, and we don't even notice it. But it is definitely playing a part in holding back from that next, transcending on that next timeline, right? Not that you can't ever get to it, but it's all I can say is it's like this hold, and we want to release this, right? So this ordains you to practice this authentic authority with all, which proclaims your soul sovereignty, so that you can truly walk in that soul sovereignty. Yes, a lot of us know that we're soul sovereign beings. We know this, but are we practicing it? The energies are asking us to practice this right now to the fullest, with all, with everyone we come in contact to. No holds bars, like Yeshua. If y'all remember some of the stories, like Yeshua don't hold back for nobody. Anybody could get it. You could come as nice as you want. He's going to cut. Hey, didn't I tell you this? Right? So we got to throw the niceties out the way. Not saying don't be nice, but this is a time to really walk in your ordained practice of your authentic authority in who you are here to be and become, right? Regardless of the interrelational friction. And it's asking us to look deeply at the mental emotional unrest that is there, that we may not be aware of, because we are walking in our soul sovereignty, as we say, right? And we're walking in it logically in the mind, and we're saying yes to these things that we know. But in the active vibratory field, as everything is energy, we don't transcend according to what we say. We transcend according to how we're existing in the energetic field. It's all vibratory. So it has to be a true heart vibrational match with the frequencies that we're attaining, that we're attuning to. Ashe? So this is why it's real important, as it's highlighting to us, to really check our human formalities, that if there are things that we need to uphold, it's asking us to go within first. That's what I was seeing. Go within first and deal with it at that level, and release the human formality with self, even if you can't get it across to that person, and really allow yourself to release, which is the next part. This is the to do, right? This is how we can release. So this release happens through the act of forgiveness. This is an act. You know how they say the act of the amendments and this and that? This is one of the spiritual acts, right? The act of forgiveness of this human formality of both parties, you and the other or others, right? To free the bondage of this mental emotional unrest and dissolve it into the love frequency, right? And so let me take a moment there, because forgiveness, as I said before, it's not just about saying, yeah, I forgive that person. It wants us to operate through the act of forgiveness. The act is a practical application. And in doing so, this is why I said I know I'm being called to do a forgiveness workshop. And this is really going to help. Believe me, when I did it in 2022, it really helped a lot of people cross certain barriers within themselves. Everyone in that workshop saw the difference, felt the difference, right? And it was very powerful. And I'm being called to do another one, because in there we break down what forgiveness really means, as I was saying before. And it is not just I forgive you. It has to be forgiveness, as I say, the meaning of it, and write this down if you can. The meaning of forgiveness is forgetting the fear. It's very simple. Forgetting the fear. And I know you might be saying, fear, what am I scared of? I'm talking about fear-based thoughts and feelings, right? Whatever has happened or has transpired, no matter how big, no matter how small, it creates some type of mental emotional unrest within your mind-body complex, and it's held there. And the true forgiveness is when you can go in and forget that feeling, not forget what people are doing, especially if it's very obvious, especially if they are playing games with your soul, with your love, light, truth that you abide in, and they're operating in cognitive dissonance, and they're being used by parasitic energies, all of this, right? So it's not to give way, to let them have their way with you, but excuse me, it is to release the hold in you. That's why they say forgiveness is for you. And this is how it's showing me to break it down. It is to release the energetic hold in the mental emotional capacity within your soul's consciousness that is there in the subconscious of your mind and unconsciously playing around in your field. So therefore it's being held there. It's not that you're consciously holding it there, but it's being held there unbeknownst to you. So forgiveness is, I always call it giving love forward, right? Because forgiveness is a love thing. It has to do with the love faculty. It's an activity of the love faculty, and it generates love. It generates more love when you truly forgive, which is when you truly forget the fear-based feeling as it exists in your mental, emotional, mind-body complex. That mental emotional unrest that is unconsciously still in the auric field, in the energy field, that is taking up space in your time vessel, is a holdback. right? And so this is very necessary in the transit that we're having right now, whoever this is for, as we are in this window, the 5-5 window to the 5-12 full moon. We're in this window of massive radical change. And this is what it is asking for us. So if you're wondering, what is that thing? You probably did everything else. And you're wondering, what is that thing? What's holding? What's holding back? What's the holdup? What's the spiritual holdup? What's the word out here on the spiritual streets? You know, we out here trying to get the word from the bird. Like, talk to me, bird, like my bird that was out here earlier. You may be wondering what that is, and it is, and you think you've exhausted everything, and you probably have. But I invite you to look within your subconscious mind. I invite you to explore, which is the heart of your soul, to explore your subconscious mind and really allow the implications of what is really happening in the mental, emotional unrest. Ask yourself, what is still there? What is there that you may have? And the easiest way is to ask yourself, what are your interrelations looking like? Right? How does it feel when you think of so-and-so? If you want to just roll the dice and throw it out there, that's the best thing you could do. Roll the dice and say, hey, how do I feel about this person? How do I feel about that person? Meaning, as their name comes up, what do you feel? Like, don't tell yourself what you feel. Allow the true feeling to just come up. And if you feel a little, I don't really do them, or even if you're right, don't look at the reasons. Don't try to over reason it. Just throw it out there and ask yourself, how do I feel about this person? How do I feel about that person? What if they call me? What if I see them? Do I turn around? Do I walk another way? That tells you the level of mental, emotional unrest that is still sitting there, right? Whether you want to admit it or not, that's the best way I could tell you to look at it, right? So things that you might say, I'm over this with that situation. If you call up the names involved in that situation, what does that, do for you? How does it feel in your mental, emotional, capacity? Do you feel the level of unrest there? And depending on that level of unrest, that is what is, that is the human formality that needs to be released, if that makes sense. All right. So with that said, was I finished with that? Where was it? I'm like, where did it go? Where did it go? I'm flipping pages here. Okay. So that was in regards to that release. I told y'all it was a lot of downloads. So throw out any questions if you got any, or any comments, because I know I'm not the only one seeing some of this. So this is to know that it, as I said in the last part, it dissolves into the love frequency. So here goes that formula I spoke of last time. Therefore, the harmony of these thoughts, the 9-3, and feelings, 9-6, dissolves into the 9 as spiritual completion that allows for a true change, 5 squared, that 5-5, a true change to be manifested, 7. For those of you who don't remember, that was the formula of 9-3-9-3-5-5-7, right? And that harmony is like what I just saw right here with the mental, emotional unrest that dissolves into the love frequency. That right there is the 9-3-9-3-5-5-7, right? Which you can watch that video where I broke that down, which is saying what I just said, harmonizing the thoughts and feelings to dissolve into the 9, spiritual completion, right? To cause the change, 5-5, into the manifestation. This formula of change is a tool that activates this forgiveness release, which generates more love. It takes a selfish, sacrificing act of love to procreate more love, to dissolve all into love, because the harmony is love. Ashe. Ashe. I couldn't agree with that no other way. When that came, I was like, well, damn. And I know people know love. We think of some of these things, but when it hit like that, it was like, it takes, and I want to say that again, it takes selfish sacrificing, not self-sacrificing, selfish. It takes you sacrificing the selfish aspect, which is the ego's the ego attachment, whatever it is. I'm not calling one selfish, but we all have a tendency to protect whatever that egoic attachment may be, which is only your personal attachment. It's not to call it bad because I'm saying ego. It's just to recognize that, remember, the ego is the conscious mind, the conscious phase of mind. And so everything in there is what you are attached to consciously, what you basically consciously, physically on this earth plane, right? So we're all susceptible to that. So it's for us to have a selfish, sacrificing love. Selfish, sacrificing act of love, excuse me, right? To procreate more love. So it's like the way it was shown to me is like the moment you have that sacrifice of selfish thoughts, even the thought to protect yourself, that's what the ego naturally does. The moment that you sacrifice the itch or the need to do that, you procreate more love. And that is how you dissolve into all love, into the love frequency. So remember that. Sacrifice the selfishness. Sacrifice what the ego wants to protect or what the ego feels like it needs. Just sacrifice it. Put it on the altar. And when you do that, you open the way to procreate more love. That's the generating aspect, right? And become the harmony. It further says the reason the forgiveness of this human formality, right, has to be for both parties. Okay, this is important too, right? This is explaining why it has to be for both parties. The reason why it has to be for both parties is because the self has to forgive itself first to release the unrest in the mind-body complex. In order to release the energetic tension between the other party or parties as they are locked in their dissonance and will not release the tension on their end. Right? I wrote this really, really small. That's why I'm looking at it like, what? So this is important. The reason for the forgiveness of this human formality on both ends is because we have to first forgive self. When you forgive self, then it's just as I explained earlier, you're working on the act of forgiveness, and you're releasing it out of your mental, emotional, that mind-body complex, which is the mental emotional unrest. So when you first release the mental emotional unrest, that is you forgiving yourself, and it allows you to easily release the other. So release the self. This is another part of the forgiveness workshop that we talked about. I didn't even know it to be what I'm saying right now, but at that time I was always saying that when you forgive yourself, it helps you to extend to forgiving others, right? Because when you think about things that you have done, or it's not even just about what you've done, when you allow yourself to forgive yourself for what you're holding, for just what you're holding on your end of it, then you release it, and then it makes it easier for you. It extends to forgiving others, right? So this just further explains that you release that unrest in yourself first, and it allows you to release the energetic tension, because when you release it in your vibratory field, it loosens up the grip of that tension. And so now it releases the tension that you're having between you and that person. It's like in the energetic realm, it doesn't matter where they are. They could be miles away from you. In the energetic realm, there's like this tug of war between you and them. And when you even get around them and you know that that thing still lingers there, it's some type of energetic tension. It activates the energetic tension. There's literally, sometimes you may feel it, there's literally a discomfort in the soul. And that's happening a lot more right now. 144, chosen of the chosen. Those of you who are really in high definition, we're hypersensitive, so we're feeling it a little bit more. So when you go around, if this isn't cleared up in the energetic field, whether you clear it up with them verbally or non-verbally, if it isn't cleared up in your end, and this is what it was showing me, it was giving us the responsibility of how we can clear it up on our end, in case we don't ever get to them, as it says here. They may never, right? They are locked into their dissonance and will not release the tension on their end. They're not going to, right? Especially in these desperate times where desperate energies are desperate to be on top. There's an overall collective ego. There's not just the individual egos. It's almost like they're plugged into that demonic database. They're plugged into that parasitic database. And so individually in their own personal ego, they feel like they can't let go because it feels like life or death to them. It really does. And in the collective parasitic database, it's definitely not letting go. It's that is do or die. Like they don't, that old paradigm that it is operating to, that old earth that is collapsing, they do not want to admit it. And I'm not just saying they, the people, I'm talking about the parasitic energies. Those are cons and whatever we want to call them in the earth, in the realm. They don't want to release it. And it doesn't matter that you see them. They're holding on with a tight grip and they don't care that you're looking them dead smack in the eyes. They refuse to let go and let loose the grip. And so it depends on how much those souls are intertwined and how deep they are in their cognitive dissonance, how deep they are invested in their wounds, right? Because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And no matter what you tell them, you can bring all the knowledge in the world. Doesn't matter. You may think that, well, because they're spiritual, they're going to understand this too, right? No. They're going to look at a window of manipulation. They're still going to do their best to siphon out your light because they're desperate to not turn this over to the light. It's not nothing personal to you. They're desperate to not turn this over. They're not going to do it on their end. And this is what it's being really driven home, why we must take the part up, take the mantle and do the work where it is necessary on our end, right? Release and recognize this is just a human formality. This mental, emotional little unrest that's there that I need to check out myself for, it's a human formality. And it's neither here nor there. And it helps to, bring that thing down, right? There's more. Oh my God, there's more. All right. Let me see if this is more that I have to go into right now, or I could give us a little break. Okay, yeah. It's saying, yeah, because this has to do with what I mentioned about the crown chakra. So, also, any questions, any comments? Thank you for the hearts, for those who were throwing up the hearts. But let me know if you have any questions, any comments. Let me know how this resonates with you. Are you feeling any of this human formalities, or just what may be standing out to you? Are you seeing it in regards to this cosmic shift and change? Because it's a real thing, right? So just let me know what you feeling there. Also, what I saw in the interaction of the disconnect, right, within the crown. This had to do when I was talking about the crown. Is that it causes the ego to flare up, right? As the main block of the crown is ego attachments, as I mentioned before, right? Ashe, peace, love, and light, gratitude. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought this was a hot piece of message. When I got it, it was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go live today. I was contemplating. I really didn't want to. I just said I'm going to do the video, but it was like, all right, let's go live. Because when I have a download this heavy, this thick, it's like, you got to go live, right? So it's to know that the crown chakra, as I mentioned earlier, is about ego attachment, right? So really think about that. So this is how it affects the interaction of this disconnect, right? Because the evolved aspect of the crown is about total connectivity, one mind consciousness. It is the cosmic body that is the gateway back into the ethers, back to the divine, connecting you back to your soul star above that holds the divine plan. But the crown chakra is the total connectivity, total consciousness, right? So the block of that, you can't be in that when you have any ego attachment, and I mean any, in different areas, right? So with that said, this is for, okay, all right, so it's two parts. So for the one who is in cognitive dissonance, they are so because of heavy ego attachments due to layers of unhealed wounds and fears, which is why the lack, they lack the true connectivity, which is the connective activity of the one mind consciousness, and therefore cannot see or embody the love, light, truth concept as a currency in the divine frequency. All right, so it's to understand that on that end, for those who are in that cognitive dissonance, they are there because of their ego attachments. And their ego attachments are there because of the fears, the state of mind of lack and limitations, the unhealed wounds that initiates these fears, right? If you have unhealed wounds, it's going to incite the fear-based thoughts and feelings. So because of that, that's why they hold on with that grip. No matter what you say, they're in that cognitive dissonance, right? And so those who are in that cognitive dissonance, they have the ego attachment, right? This is their detachment in the crown. And this is why they even suffer. You may see you. Okay, to know this physically, if you want to know physically if they have crown chakra issues, if they have any nervous system issues or skin issues, or both, because the nervous system runs through the skin, as the skin is the biggest organ on your body, right? The skin it has to do with the crown chakra. So when people have issues, either in their nervous system issues, or especially skin issues, so visibly, if you visibly see skin issues, then just know that there is a disconnect in the crown somewhere. I don't care how good they're living their life. I don't care what you see on the outside. There is a cognitive dissonance somewhere there. There is ego attachments that they have to work through, right? This is not doom and gloom or blaming anybody. It's not a blame thing. It's just to understand what counterparts you're dealing with, understand how you're interacting with others, right? And where they truly are, and be in acceptance of where they are, right? So as I said, they don't understand, they can't embody the true love light concept, right? As a currency of the divine frequencies, or within the divine frequencies, they can't understand that is the currency within those frequencies. It's how we exchange, the energetic exchange, and they don't understand that currency, therefore they lack that currency, right? So for the ones who are, and this is the last part, yes it is. For the ones who are recognizing the cognitive dissonance of the other, and this is for the 144, the high dimension, not high dimension, but yeah, high definition of the fifth dimension, right? Those who are recognizing the cognitive dissonance of the other as per the hold of the mental emotional unrest that holds energetic tension in the vibratory field. So remember, as per the hold, the type of hold, it causes the person to engage in ego attachment as they are realizing the disconnect. So this is saying to you, right? No worries, no fret. I'm not saying you drop down in lower vibrations or nothing, and it is to know that when you recognize this disconnect, right, it engages in the ego attachments just a little bit, even if some, right? This cognitive dissonance from the other party can lower, right? It doesn't always necessarily, but I have to let us know it can lower their vibration to drop into the ego for protection of the unrest, haphazardly and subconsciously. This is where it picks up, and this goes back. You can put this in front of everything else we talked about the unrest, because, and this is why all of this that I'm saying right now was really supposed to be put in when I was just talking about the crown, before even getting into the depths of that unrest. And if you understand this, you can understand how the unrest comes up, because technically what's happening is, in the crown chakra, you may be more in your total connectivity, but in engagement, in the interaction, in the interrelative actions with others, as they hold their cognitive dissonance, and as per your mental emotional unrest, meaning depends on how it triggers you, right? Subconsciously, unconsciously. It can lower the vibrations. It can pull you into a little bit of ego attachment somehow, some way, because it because of it bringing you into that mental emotional unrest. It does bring you into an ego attachment, because that unrest is something that you're going to want to naturally, the ego is going to want to naturally protect, right? So that's how it can lower the vibration a little and kind of hold you into this place of unrest. This is why we got to release the hold. This is why we have to have that forgiveness, meaning forgetting the fear-based thought that is being proposed to the ego. See why I said it's preposed in the body? It's a preposition, right? And so this is really important. Like, I don't know if all y'all get, I don't know who all getting this. I don't like to say y'all, but let me know if you getting it, because this right here is really breaking down how we end up into these places and spaces, right? And it really is a relief when you understand it, because it helps you to know where to loosen the valve in your soul, if that makes sense, right? So it can help drop you into the ego for protection of the unrest, haphazardly or subconsciously. Therefore, it is important for the one who recognizes this to immediately do their due diligence to dismantle the unrest, to release the energetic hold. So the ego has no grip, and true connectivity is restored in the cosmic body of one mind consciousness. And the crown is strengthened and revitalized. So it breathes back life, it breathes back energy into the crown chakra once you can do that. And now this may take going into other energy centers, it may take going into the heart chakra to bring back the love frequency, unity, and connectivity. It may take going into the sacral to really look at the feelings, because the sacral is the emotional body, right? Carrying the energy in motion, right? So it may take looking at other energy centers to breathe back life into this crown chakra. But listen deeply again to what must needs be done. It is saying that it is very important that we immediately, it is important for the ones who recognize this to immediately do your due diligence and dismantle the unrest and release. So do the forgiveness that needs to be done. Release the energetic field. And we're doing this because that is what loosens the ego's grip. Remember, the ego naturally needs to protect itself, right? And most likely you may have to go into the solar plexus, because let me tell you what happens as well. This is also what's happening to those that are in the dissonance, the cognitive dissonance. Once they are in that ego's attachment and you come around in your energy threatens, because you come with this revealing light that they sense. And once that is there, their ego grips, right? There's tension there, and when they hit back out energetically, it stirs up more misappropriations in their solar plexus, because they feel a threat of being out of control, and they start to get do things to try to control this out of control feeling. They may not be aware of it, but that's what's happening. So they're disconnected in their crown. They're out of alignment in their crown just by being in their ego's attachments. And then they throw themselves further out of alignment because they get active in their solar plexus, and they start to have feedback and kickback through their solar plexus, because they're doing everything to defend that ego, to defend whatever that attachment is. And that the solar plexus is also about the ego, right? The wise ego and the misappropriated ego, but they do everything to defend that ego. So they may hit out in that solar plexus, and they're going to hit out at your solar plexus, right? And at your throat chakra, because the throat chakra and the solar plexus go hand in hand. So they're going to hit out at who you're being in your light, and they're going to hit out at how you're expressing. They're going to hit out at your third eye, because of your ability to see through, to cut through with your insight, and how sharp you are in your insights, right? Ashe, present. Hey, soul, peace, love, and light. So I share all of that. That was all of the download, and it was a lot. It was one of my like 2 page worth of download, but I felt it was important to get all of that out. Especially, do with it what you will, but it does pertain to the window that we're in right now. It pertains to this shift of change that we're in, and to answer how some of us can change, and especially if you're dealing with others, how you can deal with others, because it's not dependent upon them, and you can't wait until you get a point across to them. It may never happen. As I said, they're in their dissonance, and it doesn't matter what you bring to them. If you do, you can attempt, but be in acceptance of what it is, where it is, and be prepared in your mind body complex to have your boundaries set. No expectations, right? Do not expect anything other than what you are bearing witness to. It will be just that. And if something comes out of it, then hey, it's a plus. But don't depend on it. Ashe, don't put your light in the way. It's time to remove a lot of things so you can transcend through these cosmic transmissions, because it's coming. The galactic center is steady emitting these emissions, right, that are coming through our sun, right? As the intensity, the light intensifies, we get this fifth density light. Is happening. Now, what we do with it is on us. And so it's our responsibility to take this light energy information, to abide in the love, light, truth frequency, right? That is the true currency. And utilize your energy as this true currency. Share your currency with those who are of like minds, and you know who they are. That's another thing I was getting, reminding us to share only with those. I'm not saying be stingy and don't share your light where you can, but be careful, be mindful. Be mindful. I don't like to say be careful because it's almost fear factoring. Be mindful, meaning be wise in where you share and your light, because they're siphoning, right? They're definitely desperate. Just think about that as you rise in your vibrations and frequencies. They're desperate. They do want to siphon, steal, tear, block, all of that, right? So be very mindful, and you have to know when to hold back a little, when to hold back. And only, what I was getting, as I was saying, is only share the fullness of your light with those who you see are operating in that currency, right? Who share the love, light, truth currency at the rate, at the level, and at the rate in which you share it at your level of frequency, right? Nothing less, right? If you want to aspire for more, yes, but be mindful, because more may also be above your means. It's like knowing where you are, right? Not saying you can't get there, but really, it's almost like I'm hearing stay in your lane. Like for those of you who watch, what was it? Emmanuel Wilding Out. Just stay in your lane. Stay in your vibratory frequency lane and do what you can do in your lane, right? Yes, they are very desperate. I'm glad you're seeing it. It's not just me. It's desperate energies out there doing desperate things. And believe me, it will work through everything and everyone around you. Yes, your babies, your children. And I know that's hard for people to grab their mind around. You have to remember, these are human formalities. These feelings, these emotions, they're human formalities, right? So know where to stand your ground. Yes, even with your children. When I see that I'm doing light work and the children want to be used like at certain I have to sit them down and say, nope, I'm not entertaining that. I'm not doing that with you. Go deal with your parasitic energy. They'll figure it out. Like I teach mine, so they know what I mean when mama says, hey, go deal with that demon. Go sit your demon down somewhere, or go deal with that demonic energy, or that I know it may sound harsh to some people, but when you teach them and they understand, they know what you're talking about. They know I'm not calling them demons, but I'm speaking to that parasitic energy that wants to use every bit of their unhealed wounds. And I have to remind them that every time you get your feelings hurt, you open a window. So as soon as you get your feelings hurt, recognize it, face it, and close that window immediately. When you face it, you close the window. Again, you loosen the grip of the ego. The ego has nothing to protect when you face it and say, I see this, close the window. But if you leave the window open, then you leave yourself open for that parasitic energy. So teach ones around you if you can, because that's how you're going to teach people how to treat you. Teach them how to treat you, right? By how you teach yourself and those very close to you. That's the best I could say with that. Ashe, ashe. So thank you for being here. I wasn't planning on doing a live till Saturday, but we living and we vibing and we soul tribing all up in here, lighting up on the light grid. All of you who just came in, this message was for you specifically. If you made it here live, then you live on the light grid. You are infusing with the light grid right now. So continue to do your soul work. You ain't here by no accident. Continue to do what you're doing. If you see this later, whenever you see it, this is for you too. And thank you for, being a part of this soul ascension, our planetary ascension, because it's not just for you. It's for all of us. Light up on the light grid. Ashe. Ooh, and there go to number 13. That's that divine feminine energy. Let it in. Let her in. Let her in. Let that divine energy interweave us into the divine masculine and find that sacred balance that we call harmony. Ashe. Just hopped on right in time, didn't you? In time to rewind. Because I'm going to get out of here right now. But it's good to see you, Nafisa. We're going to have to tap in. That's another thing. Okay, yes. Reminders before I go out. Listen out for the forgiveness workshop. I'll let you know when I'm going to do it. It just started coming in today. So when I see what day I can do it, I'll let you all know. Please tune into that, because it's definitely going to help with this transit and this timeline transcendence. So really take advantage of that. Like I said, I have not done one since 2022. So if that pops up, you want to tune in. You want to tap into that. If you want to become a member of the membership, why am I saying membership? If you want to become a member of the remembering of our Starseed group, you can always email me, divineenergystudio@gmail.com. And those of you who are in the group, look out, listen out, because I'm about to post something in the group because we got to level up on some other stuff. So keep gritting. We're gritting. So with that said, each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out. Be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Peace, love, and light. Ashe.